Hey there, welcome to another session of Alchemy of Hope. I'm your host Harshita, and for now, we have a special guest, Jonita D'souza, with us. Before I welcome her, let me read out her bio. Born in India, settled in England, Jonita D'souza is a feminine lifestylist, an author, and creatress of Exploring Femininity Limited, assisting modern day busy women who struggle with burnout, overwhelm, and body love to reconnect with their feminine and sensual energy using the ancient Taoist and Tantric arts so that they can create a lifestyle that is fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Jonita is also a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, master hypnotherapist, and combines the teachings of Indian feminine mysticism and shamanism in her work, facilitating monthly moon circles, online workshops, and sacred feminine retreats. Currently, Jonita is spreading the Empress vibes through her signature program, the Feminine Empress Codes, an online mentorship into self leadership for women to love, live, and lead in a post pandemic world. Oh, that's a sweet bio. Welcome, Jonita.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for introducing me such beautifully. And I'm so excited to be here in this space with you and do conversation.
So, the viewers of Alchemy Hope, I'm also Indian, and Jonita is also part Indian. Her origins are from India. So, yeah, we already have that sisterly vibe. So, let's enjoy this conversation. This is gonna be about something. It is quite heavy, but let's see how Jonita answers our questions. This is about self-harm, self-abuse, that we develop as children because of childhood trauma. So, without further ado, Jonita, let me ask you. You have come a very long way in your healing journey and in your mission. So, take us back to your past. How did the healing journey start for you?
So, the healing journey has been ongoing ever since, I think, ever since I recognized that it has been a healing journey. I was just like you, I was born in India and in a very privileged family, I must say. I had a very good childhood. I had all the things that I could want and as a child, and very loving, supporting parents. And I'm talking early 80s, so quite a while ago.
Okay.
And so that time, the Indian society that as you can think of, was not as liberal as what it could be today, at least not in many places. And so one of the things that I was taught by my parents was that in order for me to be a free woman, and I'm so glad that they were instilling these beliefs and thoughts in me right then, that in order for me to be an independent woman, I need to be financially free.
Yeah.
And I just concentrated on that. So I began to believe that, okay, so if I want to grow up and have all the independence as an adult woman, all the freedom that I cannot have as a young girl, as a little child living in India, I just have to make a lot of money and get. So in order to do that, I need to get a good education, then get a good job, and then start making good money. And then I will be free, independent.
Yeah.
And I did all of that, I did all of that. And as a very typical Indian, I became an IT engineer and I started working, and I soon, in a very early age, at the age of 21, 22, I was in a good position in working in an IT company, and I had the money, and I was thinking that, all right, I have a right according to me, but I don't feel that freedom. I don't feel that independence. I don't even know how to express myself as a woman, because as this engineer, at work in this corporate world, I was good in expressing myself because I had the skills, but then I wasn't good in expressing my opinions. And I was a very introvert character. I still am. So I really hesitated in expressing myself, being out loud in the boardroom to be heard, and nothing fell into synchronicity that made me feel fulfilled, and I was really confused. So I began to think that women in the West are free. So, we watch all those Hollywood movies and songs and all those things. You can see that, okay, they get to wear what they want, they get to travel, they get to be free. You can just roam around in the streets freely, which was not as, freely possible in India at the time. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the West because that's where freedom is. And so I got there, and then I was faced with another set of problems. I realized women are free, but they also have their inner issues of the void was still there, the void that they still could not express, because what I was seeing is an outer representation of beauty, but then an inner embracing of the very masculine women. So all of this was really confusing for me. And at the age of 23, I was in London at the time. My father passed away, and a lot of things happened in my life, literally within the 2-3 months, that made me feel really confused as a woman. I didn't want to come back to the East, because I didn't understand how I was supposed to be and also live and face the trauma of my father's death. At that age, who was one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporter of my big dreams. And I didn't know how to be in the West because I was really confused, in doing the woman, not being the woman. You need to look good in order to be accepted, in order to have friends, in order to get attention at workplace, in order to be promoted, in order to be accepted by new group of friends. It was always about looking good and doing the woman. So it led to a lot of void, and I was seeking all of the doing in my relationships with myself. There was a void. So hence my journey of exploring what it led me to realize that there is a whole layer of baggage, emotional baggage, that I need to now look back and make peace with, understand. Because without that, I cannot really feel free, no matter wherever I am in the world. And it begins going back into the memories of me as a little girl. So long story short, that was my journey in 2007.
Jonita, when we look at you right now, we don't think that you would be somebody who would have a childhood of self-abuse. So what does that entail?
Yeah. So with self-abuse, I want to bring the attention to us as adults, because what I truly believe is that as a child, when we were children, there were a lot of situations presented to us. There were a lot of circumstances that we were thrown in. We did not have much understanding or even say in many circumstances. So we could be and can be considered as the victims of the situation, because as a child, we had to just go through the things that we were put into by our family, society, parents, loved ones, whoever, school conditions, etc. So as a child, we were the victims. But what I believe is, as an adult, we are conscious creators. And when we deny that fact, what happens is that we go into this vicious cycle of self-abuse. So as a child, we didn't know what was good, what was right. And even though we felt, we just didn't know what to do about it. We were very dependent on the adults in our life and how they responded to us and what they taught us and how we were validated by them. And what happens is that as an adult, it becomes our responsibility to consciously become the creators and meet those unmet parts of ourselves so that we come out of this self-abuse cycle. So when I say self-abuse, what I really mean is that we women are highly intuitive, highly emotional. We exactly know when things don't feel right within us. We exactly know that I want to say something, but I feel like I can't, because that's what been my nature since child. I was told not to speak out loud. I was told not to disagree. I was told not to, show my anger. I was told to respect the elders. I was told to obey religion, and all of the things that we were told live by the society's rules. So we have inside of us deep sense of internalized anger. And this anger leads to self-abuse in an unconscious way, because that's easy. And abuse is the numbing part of ourselves, that we become busy in the doing. We numb ourselves through emotional eating, through binging TV, through different kinds of addictions, mean self-talk. So we become busy avoiding that conversation, that moment of presence and deepening that we know we are required to have with ourselves, while with this wounded inner child, this inner girl. But we continue this journey of self-abuse because firstly, we don't know what to do with it. And secondly, we think that by numbing and continuing this self-abuse, and the self-abuse is because we are aware of this pattern in us, it may someday go away. So we kind of cheat ourselves this way. And when I realized that, like, oh my God, actually, as an adult woman, I am the one abusing myself. It felt really saddening. It felt really sad for me to then feel into my little girl, like, oh my God, I am now doing this to you. So that's the pattern that we are called as women to look into. There's this nice girl syndrome. It's very popular. We have been told to be nice. And we do that in order to be accepted, to receive love and validation. And this is natural, because this is the essence of the feminine. She wants to be appreciated. She wants to be loved. She wants to be accepted and celebrated. So we would go to any length. As a girl, we went to any length. But as a woman, when we're doing this, we are the ones abusing ourselves, not the ones who traumatized us in our past.
You know what? When you tell your story, I remember my adolescence. So I unconsciously developed a couple of very customized, personalized self-abuse habits, and I was unconscious of them throughout my high school days. But when I reached college, that was a time when I started recognizing these patterns in me. One of it, the top self-abuse pattern in myself has been, I had this issue of perfectionism. Like I had to do everything, in the most perfect way. Otherwise, I need to punish myself. So my go-to punishing method was to starve. So if I didn't do something right, if I didn't meet my expectations, if I disappointed myself, somehow I wanted to be hard on myself. So my first punishment method was no food, go without food.
Wow.
Like that was normal for me.
Yeah.
But it took some years for me to recognize that. Of course, as kids, we don't learn these habits from nowhere. I realized that I was taught how to treat myself this way from my own family. Like when they want to deny me love because I was behaving in an unacceptable way.
Yeah.
That's what they said, that go without food.
No food for you today. Being a bad girl today.
Yeah.
No reward. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't imagine like how normal it was for me to go without food like that. I even had company, when I was in hostel. I had a friend who had a trouble background.
Mm.
So I was in a hostel, and if I'm angry with myself, I would go without food. So my friend would come and ask me, why I'm not eating. I said, something happened and I'm angry with myself, so I'm denying myself food. And then that person said, like, even
Good
there you
idea.
good idea. So like I know like this is so normal. Like this is just
Mm.
one way. I have
Mm.
seen some girls in my hostel who have shown much more troubling ways of self-abuse that sometimes it's so unconscious that we are not even ready to accept that no, I can't be abusing myself. But then once you realize that, oh God, like we are the ones who are abusing ourselves, it's like a crash, but then we can overcome it.
Exactly.
So
And this
how do
is
we do
where,
that?
yeah. So I think first is to, be in the recognition.
Mm,
Most of the adults, and I will talk specifically to women here, because most of the women carry this wounded inner girl within
mm,
themselves. We don't often see it, and we, as I said, we just cover up this trauma, this woundedness inside of us by staying busy, by giving ourselves short-term pleasure through
yeah.
overdose of shopping and eating,
Mm,
and becoming dead serious about ourselves as an adult. So but we know within ourselves that there is this little girl hurting. So firstly, it's important to understand and accept that inside of me
mm,
there is this deep-seated, unfulfilled, unmet
yeah.
emotion, and this is an unmet emotion.
Mm,
And childhood trauma can differ from different person to person. For some it can be really severe childhood abuse, by people around. For others it can be subtler form of when a need wasn't met,
mm,
when you asked something and that you were denied that.
mm.
So, or for some, like for me, my childhood trauma was the struggle to fit in,
Oh.
fit into the society.
Mhm,
And 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 that became, so that turned me into this nice girl. And I knew that inside of me a rebel was being birthed, but she was not coming out, and she was getting angrier and angrier
mm,
day by day.
mm,
And you know what, for women, it's very easy to recognize if we have traces of childhood trauma, because our body
yeah.
shows that through PMS,
Mm,
through
mm,
bleeding times. So when you have extreme pain,
yeah.
and this is extreme pain, some of
Mm,
us go through extreme pain, there is some observation, there is some work to do there,
mm,
because this is a crucial time
mm,
for us women when we enter from this little girl child into this adolescence, and the way we have perceived ourselves, our body, our image, self-image that is
mm,
changing, puberty, all of that brings up a lot of hard, intense emotions. And
mm,
unfortunately, we are not taught how to deal with this. And
yeah.
instead, it is such a taboo. But a lot of women experience extreme PMS. And when in my work with them, we go through the layers of, coming back and revisiting your memory lane to the
Mm,
point where you felt that you are nothing. Just go with all the things that you have been told and taught and enforced by the society, and your life will be good. And it shows up in our bodies. This is so interesting because there is
mm,
no denial in our feminine body about this trauma that we have been restoring.
mm,
And what also happens is that our periods, our moon cycle shows us these glimpses of internalized anger.
mhm,
Think about how angry you feel 2-3 days before your periods, or how sad you feel, and how hopeless, and you just want to shout at everyone, and you feel like nobody understands you. All of these are your little girl's unmet emotions, coming out through you in this adult time. And the interesting thing is that when I started working, when I was in this confused state of womanhood, I started working with this beautiful shamanic teacher. And she told me this, that now that you are going on a journey of self-discovery, you should expect to find a lot of anger inside of you. And that scared me. And I was like, no, but I'm a nice girl. Like, why should I be angry? I just want to know what womanhood is about. And she was like, no. That's where your journey begins. To really expect to find that anger and learn how to work with that anger, because that anger is a very potent ground for you. Very beautiful, fertile soil. When a fruit or a flower blossoms through this fertile ground, and in the fertile ground is usually the mixture of all this shit, as I like to say. And oftentimes in our stage of blossoming, we have to use the shit of our lifetime experiences to come into blossoming. So the internalized anger is a very beautiful stepping stone to look into, like, hey, what are the things that make me angry about myself first? Think not about other people, but about myself. Where am I not listening to myself? And we girls are not taught to be angry. That's another thing. So we go into this self-abuse pattern because now that we are feeling angry and disappointed and we can't express ourselves the way we are or we want, so let's go back into the normal pattern of self-abuse. Let's carry on, overeating or less eating like you, or let's go watching Netflix for hours and hours, just numbing ourselves. Alcohol is a big problem around that. So all of this, what we are doing is to fill that void. We are not listening. And interestingly, when I was doing the work with internalized anger with women, what I've discovered is that we as women, we are taught to unconsciously, we turn our anger into sadness. And through that sadness, we go into a self-abuse pattern. We feel really hopeless about ourselves in all true aspect. We don't want to admit it, or we just feel so disappointed with ourselves for being this abuser to ourselves. Whereas boys unconsciously channel their sadness or their fear into anger. So for them, it's really easy to express. Something happens and they are out there expressing themselves. It's difficult for us. So as women, biologically, neurologically, so the pattern of self-abuse is very important to pick up on. Where am I running away from this deepening presence with my own self? And why?
This internalized anger part, I resonate with it so much because when I was a kid, I knew I was that angry kid. Like from childhood, I was an angry kid in the family, so I was a difficult one. But there was a wisdom in my anger, which of course I didn't understand because my family were not emotionally mature enough to deal with their own emotions, let alone teach me how to handle my emotions. And my emotions are very big. And I was always this angry kid. So by the age of 10, my family took me to a clinical psychologist, kid psychologist, okay, to deal with my anger issues. So at that age, I was quite sensible and I felt hurt that my family, they could have had a decent conversation with me, but then they took me to somebody else who's considered an expert on childhood behavior to handle this issue with me. So what happened after that? I learned to not show my anger. Even though I was angry every single time when something went wrong in the family. So it kind of imploded within me to such a big extent. Like this happened in my teenage years. Oh my God. That if I were to explode with anger, I can't show that to the others. But what I do is I would bite myself just to control it. So I know this is abusive because I thought maybe hurting my body would create a different kind of pain so that it would numb out the pain that I felt inside. Horrible behavior, but it went on for a couple of years there, until I learned to titrate it out. Like when I was going through my spiritual awakening journey, I was at rock bottom. Like my complex PTSD symptoms began to show up, and I understood that my anger has a transformative power. Like I began to look at my anger in a different way, not as something to be suppressed, but something which has that, Kalima kind of energy, the one who can bring justice to myself. So my lesson has been not to show my anger as a venting means, as a means for venting towards others and hurt others. No, but that sacred rage when it is righteous,
I was
and
just gonna say that.
yeah, the kind of rage when it is channeled in the right moment at the right time would create situations to change for the better, and we
That's so
would we would grow from that kind of anger. So my journey has been exactly that. Like through anger, I grew into my power. So I resonate so much with that. And I see now some of my friends who are like so staunch feminists, like they are so angry with everybody. So it's a trope now. Feminist means they are these angry women, but nobody
Yeah,
asks why they are angry. Like they have a reason for their anger, like maybe generations of reasons for their anger.
yeah, thousands of centuries of
Yeah,
suppression of
yeah.
feminine.
Like so we
Yeah,
can't blame women if they have this big anger. Like we should give them space if they want to express their anger, and maybe we should teach them ways how to channel their anger in the right way, right?
exactly. And this is why my work these days has been over the last 3 years very focused on self-leadership. It's about us actually not waiting to be given the space,
Yeah.
not waiting to be given the opportunity, not waiting to do all the healing and do all the blame game, but right now in this moment taking full responsibility, in fact leadership of our own essence, taking back that power internally. And so many things shift when we begin to work with the energy of self-leadership. Then what happens is that we can no longer then play the blame game that they did this to me in my childhood and they did that to me, and because of this reason and because of pandemic and all of that, nothing else will matter except your integrity itself as a woman, accept your essence itself. And for that, I understand it is not an easy journey. It has never been. But I can promise from the deep depths of my womb and heart that this is the most fruitful journey you will take as a woman. And coming in conversations like this, coming in community of women to work with this together, to understand each other's wounding as well, is very, very important at this point in time, to acknowledge our own sovereignty, our own self-leadership. And what we see is one another way of self-abuse as adult women that I see is that we use the energy of our inner girl to make important decisions of our lives as an adult woman. especially in terms of visibility, like as you said, we spoke feeling about ourselves as an adult woman. What we are doing is, in that moment, we are reverting back to our age of trauma.
Mm.
And no wonder we are afraid, we feel overwhelmed. We must understand that the energy, the psyche of the inner girl inside of us is ever present with us, but we cannot use that to make important decisions of our adulthood. Of course, we must use that energy of this inner girl for what she is good at. And this thing inside of us, the psyche inside of us, is a beautiful, would I say, conduit for potentiality. We must use her for that. We must assign our inner child for the role that actually she enjoys, so that she feels useful. That is, looking into life through the lens of playfulness, creativity, awe, wonder, curiosity, magic, miracles. That's the part that we must use our inner girl with on a regular basis as an adult woman, while on the other hand, reparenting or remothering our inner girl. We must not begin to make business decisions or marriage decisions or relationship decisions from that energy, because that's not the energy of an inner girl. That's the energy of you as an adult woman. It requires a different vibe. So that's something really important that I understood. And it's very easy and very funny when you think as an adult, even now, like when you get really angry and upset and you begin to shout and scream, you will notice that your voice changes. Like you go into your changes. You go back to that 8-year-old girl, who used to respond to situations like that. So we, as an adult woman, as I keep saying, are conscious creators. We need to take the responsibility of dealing with life's current situations from who we are today, not who we were when we were 8 years old, because that energy is the beautiful, magical energy that we need, but not the visibility energy that we portray.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes so much sense. Like I know that everybody can relate to that. Okay, so since you mentioned your father, who had been such a cheerleader for you and your dreams, for the viewers of Alchemy of Hope, let me ask you this question. What does a little girl need from her father?
I think holding. And from the father is what we learn a lot about the masculine energy. This is the first experience of masculine energy in our lives. So they play a really important role. And it's really hard to define what this little girl needs from the father. I can only say what I wanted and I liked, because it's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. But then the most important fact that, I like to say is that we cannot be childlike and have children. In this day and age, if you actually look around, children are actually having children, not adults having children. If you actually what I'm speaking, the process of bringing a child into life is a very sacred, very magical, very a process filled with a lot of responsibilities, and it's just not for procreation, because using children, anyone can, rats, animals, cows, dogs, cats, everyone can produce children, all those species. And as human beings, look at us. Where are we going ahead in our consciousness? We must learn that it's a conscious journey, and be ready for that. when you want to birth children, because we know now that the work we are doing as an adult is this reverse engineering work. So we must become really careful about this decision of bringing children. That's what I personally believe.
Yeah, it's not simply like your destiny and
for the sake of it. Yeah, because
not for the sake of it.
That's what many people do. You meet, you fall in love. Okay, next stage is to have children. We don't know anything about it, and we don't know. We haven't even dealt with our own traumas, and then we just go on and pass this thing generation to generation. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because we are standing in the forefront of this line that are recreating new standards for the feminine and for birthing for women.
Exactly. So let me ask you this one last question. What does freedom mean to you?
What does freedom mean to me? When I wake up and I can when I can choose and decide for myself, that is freedom for me. And I think the pandemic showed it very beautifully. We were caught in the confinement of our four walls, and a lot of things were not available to us. And for me, in those moments, and I was stuck in an island with no electricity, no water supply, no internet.
Okay.
So where is the freedom? Where the hell can I find freedom? And if you actually look into the history of Andaman Islands, it's known as the Alcatraz of Indian history, because it's known for its jail and all of the stories from British Empire, independence and stuff. And there I was in the island, stuck with nothing. So where is the freedom? And then I had my it was my 36th birthday, and I was like, okay, so I had to realize that if I wake up and I have the ability to choose and decide what I require for the day, show up, that's freedom to me. You can take away all the externalities, and if I choose and decide and show up the way I feel like, that is freedom. And everything else is extra.
And it has to be a conscious decision, right? Like, it's not like every day you wake up and life is gonna bring you something. Of course, life would happen, but we have a role there. We have an active role in how we want to show up and face life. That is freedom.
That is freedom. When you have nothing to hang on to, what do you hang on to then? And if you can find that peace inside of you, it's really freeing. And then, you know what beautiful thing is? It becomes very freeing for the people that you're in relationship with as well.
That piece, that line was very poetic. What do you hang on to when you don't have anything to hang on to? What is that for you?
As I said, I have built this immense trust and faith through years of practice and practice, learning, failing, and again showing up, that I can create my life. Many times I have started doing that and I failed and things went out of control, and then I started again and same thing happened, and again, and then something good happens. So through over the last 20 years, I have realized that I can create my life. I've created everything that I wanted to be in this time, day, and age, not just by fluke, but by practice, trust, and faith. So that's that piece, that I have immense faith that you can put me in whatever situation, I will create exactly what I want. And that may not be monetarily wise, but as I said, that I can feel into that deep sense of peace inside of me.
Being the eye of the storm, right? And from there creating.
Exactly. And you know what, a lot of the teachings that I have gone through, specifically under the Taoist feminine arts, is all about using everything that you have, your breath, your sound, your movement, your intentions, and then finding that peace inside of you in a woman's body, which feels whole and complete. So you're not looking for someone to validate you, complete you, and in doing so, you overflow this love that you are willing to share with others.
Yeah, perfect. So, Jonita, so after that highly entertaining and informative interview, this is the part where you get to take us through a practice, a guided practice of your choice. So tell us more about it.
So one of the things that is so crucial for us adult women is to begin the process of remothering ourselves, remothering our inner girl. And why I say remothering and not reparenting is because, again, you can bring the both masculine feminine energies to your girl, but most importantly the healing comes from the remothering. She is your first connection, and you can restore that despite of however your relationship with your mother was. Good, bad, doesn't matter. As an adult, it is your responsibility to keep traveling back to this space of your inner girl and give her comfort. So I consciously like to spend time with my inner child. And I specifically have dates with my inner child. This is when I realized that I had become so serious in this journey of spiritual growth and personal development and all the healings and everything that I have to learn and modalities and doing it right and presenting it to the world, business, money, all of that. I realized that I had become such a serious woman, and where is the play here? Yeah, life is not meant to be so serious. And when we adults take ourselves so serious, life gets even more harder, I feel. So there's enough things to make us feel like tough, rough and tough. So having this conscious date with my inner child has really helped me to look into like, okay, so what do I do? What does my little girl want today? Maybe she wants to have this fun time. Maybe she wants to do this. Maybe she wants to play. Maybe she just wants to do nothing and lie in the swing and just look at the sky. It's just so make some, a stupid sound. Like I would just look at the tree and I'll be just humming and the things we do. So I think that has really helped me to maintain that connection, that aliveness and sense of curiosity, the gift of my inner child alive. So I want to take us through a process, I would say, of meeting our inner child and see if there is a message for us in this moment. Yeah. So so let me know when you're ready and we can take it from there. Okay.
Ready.
So I invite us to take a moment here. Get centered in our bodies. Get comfortable. You can be lying down or you can be seated with your eyes closed. Simply begin to focus on your breath. See what's present, how you're breathing. Nothing to change, nothing to do, nowhere else to be. In this moment, becoming fully present. And I invite you to journey back into the memory lane and see this little girl of yours, this inner child of yours, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Notice what image comes in your mind's eye and go with that, unedited. This version of your little girl who is either scared or upset or unmet. So seeing her with your mind's eyes in the corner of a room, there she is standing in the corner of the room in the shadows, feeling scared or upset or unmet. And as you gaze on her, remember to continue breathing softly, gently, fully. And you, as this adult woman, you're looking at your inner girl, scared, unmet, upset. What was the scenario? What had happened that made her feel this way? Absorb all the information without editing. And really go with the first memory that comes to your mind's eye. Simply witnessing and holding this space for your little girl. Focusing on your breath. And now as this adult woman, you light a candle. A candle, and you go towards this little girl of yours and invite her to come into the light from the shadows. Notice how she feels. Maybe you feel like stretching your hand forward to her. So you are witnessing two versions of yourself. You, the little girl, upset, and you, this adult woman, holding space. And as this little girl of yours, comes closer to you in trust, you decide to wrap her in your arms. And in this moment, you can feel free to bring your hands to any part of your body that feels like a safe embrace for your little girl. As if you're holding your little child, your inner girl, in full embrace. In this moment, you're re-mothering her. See if there is any words of safety you want to offer her. I am here for you. I am listening to you. I've got you. I am here to protect you. I am here to hold you. I'm here to play with you and enjoy this gift of life. I'm here to bring you out from the dark, from the shadows, into the light of magic and miracles and potentiality of this world. Noticing your breath as you are in this sweet embrace. Ask your little girl, what does she need in this moment? What does she need to hear? Is there anything she needs to hear from you in this moment? Or is there anything she wants you to do today so she can feel alive in you? So she can begin to trust you as this adult woman holding her. Give you a moment to listen and receive this message from your inner girl. If you feel any tension in your shoulders or in your jaws, use an out breath and exhale to bring ease. Now holding your little girl, take her hands, bring her out from the darkness up into the open space filled with light. You make a promise to her that she will no longer be neglected. She will no longer be in the darkness. And that you will allow her playfulness to become part of your adulthood. You will allow her innocence to support your adulthood. Now taking a deep breath in and exhaling, both of you exhaling. Rebuilding this trust, this love, this connection. Feeling like a beautiful caterpillar coming out of a cocoon. Allowing this inner girl energy to merge in you. It is safe to be you. It is safe to bring your inner child with you in the adulthood of your life. It is safe for you to invoke the curiosity of your inner girl, the innocence, the magic, the humor, the unshakable faith. It is safe for you to use the gifts of your inner girl. And so it is. So receiving any final words from your inner girl as you come back to the room, to the presence. Take a moment to honor this connection and gently coming back to this space.
That was a touching visit.
Did you receive any message from her?
Yeah, like I didn't expect this to happen. But this is a room where she grew up in a girl.
Oh.
So I got to meet a specific moment from her past, a specific hurt from her past. So she came with her hurt to me. So when she was young, when she was probably five years old, she loved to sing. Okay, it was her soul expression, and it was her joy to sing. So in this room, like standing on this bed, she was holding skipping rope, one end as a mic, and singing some film songs. And she remember that was the last time she ever sang for joy, because when her voice was heard in the other rooms by the adults, they thought, oh my god, we have got a talent here, let's exploit it. Like they have some unfulfilled dreams now, and they wanted this little girl to fulfill all those dreams. So that was a time when all these reality shows and everything were cropping up. So, at a young age, like she was just 5, okay. She was just turning 6 and she was put into a music class against her will. Of course, she was so angry. She didn't want to go. Like for her, at that age, music was her joy, not to be given rules to, taught.
Yeah.
But then sadly, the adults around her didn't understand her point of view then. So in order to please her family, she has sung many times before to win prizes, etc. But it never fulfilled her. And she kind of vowed never to sing again. So that little girl came to me and asked me just now to not force her to sing again. Because that's the kind of trust she asked from me now. Like, don't ask her to sing, but it should only ever come from a place of joy. So I said, I promise you that, and we'll manifest safe opportunities for us to learn, to practice singing again, so that it's her love, it's her playtime singing.
Yeah.
So if she wants to do that, if she wants to pick it up again, now the adult self, promise her that I would provide her a safe space, a non-judging space for her to work on her talents. And I wouldn't ever judge her voice or her singing, nothing. Like I promise her that she can count on me. So yeah, so that was a bit emotional, but it was needed. Like I'm glad I met that part of me.
Yeah, and every time we do this practice, something new comes up because we taken back into different memories, different time, different emotions and feelings. And I'm so glad that you went for it and you did not edit yourself. And this is a request I have to all the women and the listeners, the viewers watching, that not edit yourself, see whatever comes up. And even in the response, do not edit yourself. Don't think that, oh my God, how silly is that? Because I have had women saying that, okay, go eat apple. And, and they were trying to make sense of it. Like, oh my God, like why should I eat apple right now? My little girl told me to eat apple. It doesn't make sense. How is this healing? It is healing when you listen and you do not judge and you respond, you show the faith by the doing. That yes, I'm listening and I'll do this for you.
Yeah.
And that's how you rebuild that connection.
Yeah. Because I felt that willingness in her to trust me as her adult or sister or whoever she wants to look at me at. So she was willing to trust me and I was willing to stick to my word. That I would be that safe space that she didn't receive from the adults around her then. I would be that person for her. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy for this experience.
Thank you, Jonita, for that. So you also have a free gift for us. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the free gift is another guided visualization, and this is to let go of your fears or your doubts on a regular basis. So this process I've created infusing the energy, the playful energy of the inner girl. So what happens is when we think about letting go, it's a very tough and hard topic for us. It's a very dense energy. And what I like to do is on a regular basis, tune in with my inner girl and use that playfulness in letting go. So I'm not trying to make my healing journey or spiritual growth into a very strict rule of patriarchy. So this process is, I think it's a 7 minutes guided visualization where you can use the energy of your the fun, playful energy of your little girl to understand the process of letting go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Because once we start working with our inner child, it becomes things get interesting. Our relationship with ourselves.
Yeah, and many women become much more happier and radiant
Mm.
as well. So,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's the beautiful side effect.
yeah. Yeah, I know that it would be worth it. That
Yes,
letting go
definitely.
exercise with the inner child. So thank you, Jonita, for that. So I recommend all the viewers of Alchemy Hope to go check out Jonita's free gift and start working with your inner child if you haven't already. Like, make it a regular practice. That's my recommendation to you as well. So this is time for us to say goodbye. So thank you, Jonita.
It's
And
been a pleasure, and you have such a playful energy in yourself. You have this beautiful maiden energy that I have been enjoying
okay,
sharing
thank
space.
you. Probably my inner girl, somewhere,
Yeah,
my adolescent self. All right, viewers of Alchemy of Hope, thank you for staying till the end. I'm so grateful for you for staying with us, enjoying the conversation with us today. So, see you next time. Bye from me and Jonita.
nice.